Alright, so here are my GTX 780s, and here they are powering my Nvidia surround display. But let's take a step back and go to the unboxing. Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to my unboxing and first look at the GTX 780. I've already unboxed the first one, and now I'll be unboxing my second one to use in SLI. When you first get the box, you'll notice that there is a little bit of bulge in the middle. It doesn't lie flat 100% across the top. There is a driver CD, a manual, poster in there, so it's going to bulge a little bit. Okay, now this is a very exciting part of the review, where I get to look at some of the marketing and decals and stickers that they put in the box. And with the 780 and a lot of other Nvidia cards, you get a poster. This is awesome. Game of Pones, like Game of Thrones. Ha 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 ha. So yeah, Game of Pones poster with the GTX 780. Next you have a variety of adapters. DVI to VGA. Let's see what else. Okay. You have the manual. I'm going to spend all of a minute reading this. Some more stickers. Warnings. Another part of the manual. Another warning label. And a driver CD with an EVGA pin. So overall, I think the packaging could have been done a little bit better. It just comes in one of these plastic encasings. It doesn't come with one of these soft enclosures like for the GTX 670. I think this is one of the better packagings that you can have for a graphics card. The GTX 780 does come stock overclocked. I have had success overclocking already stocked overclocked graphics cards, so we'll see how this goes. Now with the drivers for the GTX 780, you get GPU Boost 2.0, which is a very smart overclocking feature. You can tell the card to throttle itself down based on temperature settings, or voltage, or power consumption, whatever you want. So it's a very smart tool for overclocking. You also get the GeForce Experience, which is an optimization tool developed by Nvidia that automatically detects your gaming hardware and sets your in-game graphics settings to be optimized for your hardware. But it's been known to make errors, like it's been known to overvalue your hardware and set settings that really aren't playable, or undervalue your hardware and put settings a little bit too low. So for those a little bit more familiar with adjusting graphical settings, the GeForce Experience isn't going to be that relevant. But with the GeForce Experience, you also get Shadowplay, which is a recording software that should be a lot more efficient and less performance detrimental than Fraps or Bandicam. So the new recording software, I don't think it's going to replace my dedicated capture card anytime soon, but it could be a good alternative for those who haven't put a capture card into their build. So let's take out the graphics card itself. I have an anti-static work mat like a boss. I don't remember the first one being this difficult to remove. Okay, there was a little bit of clipping around this corner. First thing you notice when you take out this graphics card is you notice that it's heavy. The heatsink and the cooler are the exact same from the GTX Titan. This is a turbine style fan which will blow heat out of your case. I didn't get the twin fan edition. The twin fan edition looks like it could be an efficient cooler because it has a heatsink that goes the entire length of the card. But I'm using two in SLI and I don't want the exhaust heat to be blowing back into my case. I'm going to do whatever I can to feed the turbine fans to help the heat leave the case. The all aluminum exterior feels awesome and it looks incredible. The GTX logo across the card, this should glow and pulsate depending on the game settings you set it to. You could set it to always glow or only glow in accordance to game performance, or you could set it to modulate itself to glow brighter or dim based on how fast the card is operating. The PCB extends the entire length of the card, which is quite different from the GTX 670 because the GTX 670, the PCB only goes to about like a little bit after the bus. So This is 10.5 inches long. It uses a 6-pin and an 8-pin connector, and it has a TDP of 250 watts. I'm using a 1000 watt power supply to use both of these in SLI, and I intend on overclocking a lot. Now this pretty much completes my overview and what it feels taking it out of the box. Now I'm going to put this into my PC and see how it performs. So here you have the GTX 780 compared with the GTX 670. The GTX 670 obviously has a really cool looking backplate, but I actually prefer the circuitry look of the GTX 780. The PCB, like I mentioned previously, of the 670 is a lot shorter than that of the 780. The 670 PCB only goes up until the power pin connectors, but the PCB of the 780 goes across the entire length of the card. The length discrepancy is pretty massive. So make sure you have room in your case before installing one of these 780s. That much is pretty standard knowledge. So I'm going to install this into my case now. There is no plastic around the outside to take off like some other graphics cards have. I was able to remove the dry bay cage in my case to make more room for the extra long graphics card. Oh, but you do have to remove the coverings on the outside. Now for the SLI bridge. The SLI bridge comes with your motherboard. And there we go. Not even going to test single GPU first because that's how I roll. There is enough space between this GPU and my sound card. I don't have to worry about it there. This CPU pin connector is snaked around the front because this is the Asus Sabertooth Z77 motherboard. I don't have enough room to snake it around the back. So this is not my finalized build though. This Corsair H100 liquid cooler with a radiator. I'm going to RMA this unit because the fans make a really weird grinding noise. I ordered 2 new static pressure fans to use with this unit, but this unit I got at Micro Center, and I'm going to return this one, and I'm going to use the more recent one I ordered from Amazon. So I definitely trust Amazon to have more recent stock than Micro Center. So I'm going to plug this in and get gaming.